and welcome back to the channel. So, as you can see, I've got all my mic stands set up. I'm going to show you how to track drums. So, set it up where you get 4 microphones. It's the Glenn Johns, the quarter-man method. So, I've got this mic stand. I'm going to use this for my bass drum because it's small. This one here, the snare, so I can just slip it right in there. Then behind that I'll have this big stand for the overhead, and this stand for the other overhead on this side. So I'll have 1, 2, bass drum, snare, and 2 overheads, 4 mics total. And I'll show you the microphones. Let me move the deck chair and we'll set it up. Okay, the first step is to mic this bass drum. This is a closed bass drum. If you were to have a hole here, obviously you could put a microphone in there. But I've gotten into this John Bonham method where this is sealed. I've got a felt strip here and a felt strip inside. You just trap it in the drum. And that gets rid of a little bit of the overhang, the extra resonance. And I think it sounds great for recording drums. Fantastic. So what I use, so I've got a stand like this. It's kind of smallish, so it'll just line right up with the bass drum. The microphone is the KBM412. This came from CAD, and I think it was like $38. I chose it because I wanted a budget mic, and I didn't know what I was doing yet. So I figured I'll get one of these. It's budget, and then I can work my way up, which is still what I think. But this one actually is good, and I haven't felt the need to upgrade. So here's what I do. I put this on here. You got to make sure your ends line up. Sometimes these are on your mic, you'll have small adapter ends, and in the big ones, this is the big one. So I'm going to unscrew this little holder in place and then just kind of thread it in until it's connected. Sometimes that takes a minute. There we go. And I'm going to put it about halfway and tighten down here. That seems to be good. And so now you see the mic is like this. Let me tighten up this right here. And so I'm going to bring it like pretty much in the center of the drum and then sort of offset it so it's not right down the middle of the logo, it's like offset a little bit. And I've got my handy stick here that has measurements on it. So I've got an 8-inch measurement here, which is the main measurement I use, a little bigger one for the bass drum, and this is for the snare. This is 3 inches. So for this one I'll measure it about right here. Sometimes I bring it all the way out like a stick's length, but this time I'm going to do about 10 inches right there. And then I always experiment and test, because it might sound better to get closer. Then, very simply, grab all my cabling, try to keep this neat and clean so it doesn't get all tangled up. And I don't have to go that far because I'm close to the Zoom. Oh, this is all tangled up. So I'll pick one of the smaller cables to connect it to. Let me get this sorted real quick. Okay, so I found a shorter one. Since we're so close to the Zoom, you don't need such a long cable, and I might change these as I go along. So you get the female end, you go into here. I'll wrap this around a couple times just to keep the cable off the floor. You don't want to trip on it. I might find an even shorter one. So this end is going to go to, turn the zoom on. So this is going to go to input 1. Input 4. So I have my XLR. I go to input 4. Make sure it's facing up. There's a little screw on the top that lets you know that's the top prong, or a 3-prong XLR cord. Okay. Got that plugged in. Now we're going to move to, we'll do the snare. It's the next one. Okay, the next mic is my AKG. This is for the snare. It's my AKG P220. I really like this mic. The only downside to this microphone, it's a little harsh in the upper mids, so you have to be aware of that. But it's pretty good for what it is. Now, what I do with this one, this is kind of complicated. This is a big one, and where's my mic thing? I forgot, I've lost it. Here it is. And I got this from Pavement's first drummer, the band Pavement out of Stockton, California. Gary Young made this. It's this crazy mic thing, very smart. Bought it from him on eBay. I don't know if you still sell them or not. Okay, so I'm going to take this down about, I'll put it about right here, level with this snare stand over here. And then I got to put this one, I'll unscrew this. This one has one of those small adapters in it, so the other end's small. You can only put the small adapter end in once that's set up like that. Alright, so this will go here. Here's the microphone. Now, on the P220, this is a large diaphragm condenser mic, and it's very powerful, so we're going to go minus 20 dB on the attenuator pad. This has to go to a mic pre because of the phantom power. The Zoom just really does not have suitable phantom power to really power a mic like this properly, so there's an extra step with this thing. If you don't use these large diaphragm condensers, you don't have to worry about it so much. If a ribbon or a dynamic mic, you're fine, but if you want to use one of these, you need something else to get your phantom power, because I don't think the Zoom gets it. Alright, so I'm going to just kind of push this down in here. I've got my minus 20 dB set, and because we have to go to the rain, the preamp, we got to have an extra cable. So I've got two short ones left, here and here. And then here's the rain over here. Oh, come here, you. So I try to keep all my original boxes and stuff, especially if you ever, like, people sell gear a lot, and if you have all your original stuff and you keep it nice, you can move it for a higher price than you can if you beat it to death. Alright. So here we go. We're going to take our small cable, come out of the microphone, and always wrap this around so we don't have a bunch of cabling hanging down. Just trip on. We're going to take this in here, the XLR, and here's our rain. You could use anything for this, anything that has phantom power. I go in, so it says mic in on the back. I'm going to go in mic in. I'll go just set this here for now, and I'll give you a close-up of this so you can see what's going on. Here's the power brick, and with the power brick, you got to make sure that you keep all this power source, the brick itself, and the cabling, like all the power cable that goes with it, you got to keep that away from your microphone cables. You don't want any power crossing over microphone cables. It could cause crosstalk, get noise. Okay, so this goes over here. You can start organizing everything, putting everything back, you know, like the empty boxes, close them up, set them aside. Just try to keep a little order as you're working so you don't end up in total disarray. So there's all my microphones, all the enclosures for the microphones set there. So we came out of the large diaphragm condenser into the rain. Now we're going to take that other short XLR, the two shortest ones we have. Actually I have three short ones and then two big ones, two long ones. These I guess are 10 or 6 footers, and then I have some 20 footers. Okay, so we're going to come out of the rain. Female end goes into the male end of the rain. And we're going to come out and go to number 1. And you could go anywhere you want, but I always think of the snare as being number 1. It's the most important drum for rock, that and the bass drum. So I put the snare number 1, the bass drum number 4, because I think of it as being last, and then the two overheads in the middle, 2 and 3. Okay, so I used the appropriate stand, and we're going to push this. You got to kind of set this up first because the overhead ends up getting in the way, and the cymbals, you'll see, it gets to be a little hard to shove everything in, especially in this small space. Okay, so, alright, let's see here. I'm going to move this guitar stand. There's no need for this. And then once you start doing this stuff, cabling goes everywhere. So clean up your cabling as much as possible before you start, so you don't have so much going on like I do. Alright, move all this junk out of the way. Move this stupid light. It serves hardly any purpose at all. I'll move this out of the way as well. So here is our snare. I'll cheat it out. Sometimes when you're miking drums, you got to set your drums up in a way that's not your favorite way, just to deal with the situation, you know. Have to move the cymbal kind of funky. But you get used to it after you run the song about 1,000 times. Alright, so now this stand is going to go here. Everything out of its way. And it's going to go 3 inches from the rim of the snare, and I'll measure it with my handy dandy guitar stick. So drumstick. So now we have a 3-inch measurement. Boom, 3 inches, and we'll fine tune that as we get closer, but I'll just show you my method. Alright, next, ribbon mics. Okay, now we're going to do the overheads. And these are my favorite mics. I like the way this is called the Fathead. Cascade Fathead 2 SP ribbon microphones. Bought these a while back and they really turned out to be good. So let me show you what they look like. When you open up the case, you get some nice instructions. Shows you how to do a Bloomlin stereo recording, and you get a Bloomlin bar, which is really cool. The mics go on a stand and one goes like this way and one goes underneath, and it's a really cool way to do a 2-channel stereo recording. It's the way they used to do a lot of the Sun Studio and all the Rudy Geller stuff. You know, it was done with recordings like that into 2-inch tape. Into 2-track tape machines. Okay, so here we have the microphone. I've got the little sheath covering for it. Here's the mic, and then you get these really nice mic holder things here, shock mounts. Like that. Isn't that cool? Okay, so we've got to go into these big overheads. So let's kind of set up the overheads so that we can see what we're going to... They're kind of a pain. Alright, so now this one will kind of manage to stick over here. Alright, so let me come around. I'll probably mess up my snare setup, but that's okay. We can redo everything once we get everything set up. So one of these mic stands I think is broken. It's not this one. Okay, I'm going to lift this up and I'll show you how to get the measurement for the snare miking, for the overhead miking. That looks about right. There. Tighten everything up so it doesn't get loose. Hopefully you can see me over here. There. Okay, now I'm going to take the microphone, I'll take it out. Now I've got just the shock mount. Put it on here. Put it right here. Maybe you can see me better. Like this, you kind of loosen this little dial here. And you just roll it in, screw it in. Come on. Okay, I'm going to drop it like this so that the mic will be like this over the snare. Tighten everything up, tighten up this, and as you can see, now the microphone can be like this over the mic. Over the drum. Push through the little shock mount so that it's protected there like that. Now I'm just going to move it into position over the snare. This will go here, so it's kind of tricky because you have this other mic stand right here, and then we've got a cymbal here, blah blah blah. You'll see it gets really tough. And the more mics you put in, the more challenging it becomes. All right, now got a longer cable here. I'm going to attach it to the mic, and then run that to Zoom on channel 2. So that's the end that's got to go to the Zoom. Punch it in here. Wrap it around a few times so it's not hanging down stupidly. It's getting all caught. So everything will start getting tangled up. Just try to run it as clean as you can so you don't get annoyed later when you're trying to record. run this down here. And this one is also going to go into the Zoom. This will be number 2. Now we're going to do the other side. It could start raining really loudly. I apologize in advance. I can hear it coming down. That's why I didn't get here yesterday, because of the weather. Alright, so let's take this baby here. I know, let's take this one. This one's broken. So this one will go back here. All the way over here. I'll just take that out of the way. And I'm going to keep this one kind of lowish. That's what usually happens with that one. As it says, this one over here kind of covers the bass drum. So I'll put it about right there. Hopefully you can still see me. And this is used to sort of kill some highs. I'll put this up here. Or just actually absorb bass, not highs. Okay. The next microphone comes out, the other Cascade, and I can upgrade these transformers in here to some vintage Altec or some Jensen's or something. Just haven't gotten around to it because they sound so darn good. I really like these mics. They're perfect for overheads because they really tame the cymbals. They sound terrific. Okay, same thing over here. Got our shock mount. Gonna aim this one on. Valve this off so I can just wind it in there. Guide it into the threads. Oh, it's been annoying. There it is. This one's easier to position because it's over here by itself. And as you can see, this one will go about like this, because what we're going to end up doing over here, and here's our cable. This is the longer one. This is the other longer one. I'm going to attach it. The female end goes on the mic, obviously. Make sure there's no not all caught up and tangled. Okay. Tightening everything up just so it doesn't wiggle around back here too much. So this will run to the Zoom. Okay. Now, while I'm back here, this is not going to be the final setup. I'll come back tomorrow, do the final, like, fine-tune, start working on the part. Alright, so I'm going to take these two, see I take just a standard Big Firth regular old drumstick. I think this is a Fathead SDI Junior. It's kind of like a 2B, a little bit smaller. So look how we've got to get that mic up a little bit. That's 2 drumsticks worth. So, very simple. Just move this and take it up. Alright, so here we go. Finally got it. As you can see, lots of trial and error. So that you're touching the very front face of the mic without moving the stick. It's got to stay, you can't move the stick, the bottom of the stick. Boom, touching the front here. Equidistant. You can also put a string. You take a string, push it down on the bass drum, bring it to the center point, and then you can measure your string like that too. That's another way to do it. So once again, I wish I had one to show you. You trap a string in the bass drum and you pull it to the center of the bass drum head. The rest of the string is used to measure to this, and then you want the same spot on the string to come to here. So the quicker way is just to measure this and your bass drum will be fine. You're going to go here, don't move it at the bass drum, just and there. Now, I'll just move everything around, bring this back into position. It's about 3 inches away. That's good. I'm going to move this a little bit away from the hats, and I'm going to move the hats a little bit this way as well. Cymbal, kind of stay in this gap here. And then, Let's just see if we have enough room to function without knocking these mics over. Okay. Alright, that's miking the 4-drum, 4-microphone Glenn Johns Recorder Man method. Recorder Man is just these two, the 3-inch away from the rim snare mic, and the bass drum mic is more of the Glenn Johns method. If you're doing like an acoustic act and you need light drums, this will give you a good thing. If you want full rock, you need that big snare and big bass drum. Next time.